Ayla.
21 years old / Alpha Heir. Pronunciation, Ayla. The door to my father's office creaks open, the sound warning me that my life is about to change. The study is a warm space filled with dark wooden bookshelves that reach towards the ceiling like ancient trees. The room smells of aged leather and paper, a scent I've always associated with wisdom and guidance. Usually, being summoned here means I'm in for a new learning experience with my father since I am his only alpha heir. Maybe a discussion about pack politics or perhaps a lesson on the importance of our history. Today though, the air feels different, dense. My eyes catch sight of a stack of formal papers neatly arranged on my father's mahogany desk. Official pack seal. That can't be good. Ayla, come in. Father's voice reverberates from behind the desk, where he sits with his usual composed demeanor. He's Alpha and Capo of Chicago, an Italian mafia sect that controls the city. You wanted to see me, father? I say, moving close to his desk and trying not to show how I'm trying to make out the pack seal on the envelope. He sighs deeply, gesturing to the leather seat opposite him. Sit down, Ayla. Confused but obedient, I sank into the leather chair across from him. I haven't seen him look so lost in a long time, and he takes another moment before he speaks. Ayla, you're to be betrothed to Alpha Roman of the Black Veil Bratstvo, he says, the weight of his words falling like a sledgehammer. I'm speechless for what feels like an eternity, then I leap to my feet again. Alpha Roman? The Black Veil Bratstvo, a ruthless sect of the Russian Bratva, are known for their bloodthirsty ways as well as their cold-blooded tactics in war and politics. Alpha Roman, their Pakhan and leader, is the worst of them, or so the stories go. Are you serious, father? Alpha Roman is. We're in a war with the Russians. He shakes his head. That will soon end with this, he says, gesturing to the papers in front of him. You can't possibly mean that. What about my training? My ambitions? I scoff, shaking my head in disbelief. I've shown leadership qualities, haven't I? Aren't I being prepared to be a future alpha female? Ayla, he cuts me off sharply, the familiar resolve hardening his eyes. This is not up for discussion. An alliance with the Black Veil Pack will strengthen our pack's borders, not to mention end this bloody 10-year war. Our future as a pack depends on solid alliances, and right now we cannot let this gesture of peace from their side go. Anger boils inside of me, my heart pounding like a war drum. My own father, the man who taught me to value freedom and strength, is trading me like a pawn for political gain. I've become a commodity, a thing to be bartered like a prized sheep. So that's it? My voice trembles, not with fear but rage. I don't get a say in my own future? You're going to marry me off to a man known for his cruelty? He looks at me, his eyes glinting with emotions I can't fully make out. I am his only daughter, his only blood heir who he has trained to take over from him in the future, and yet... Ayla, sit down, father commands, his eyes shifting to alpha red and pointing to the chair opposite his desk again. When he looks at me again, his eyes are the color of dark soil, deeply rooted in centuries of tradition and authority. Alpha by blood, he has ruled our pack for years, just like his father did before him. I obey, my eyes still fixed on the stack of formal papers before him. You're serious about this, aren't you? I am, he says, the words solidifying in the air between us like an invisible wall. An alliance with the Black Veil Pack is a strategic necessity. They have resources and warriors that we lack. Combined, our packs would be unbreakable. Strategic necessity? Father, we're talking about my life. My future. How can you gamble that away so easily? I scoff, my voice quivers, but I steady it, not wanting to show too much weakness. Then my eyes widen as I realize something. There's an outside force, isn't there? Another power bigger than our pack and Alpha Romans. My father chuckles sadly. It seems I have trained you too well, but you should know that sometimes sacrifices must be made for the greater good, he says, shaking his head. I wouldn't do this if it wasn't necessary, Ayla. I wouldn't trade your life if it wasn't the only thing that could help us all. Sacrifices? I say sadly. So now I'm a sacrificial lamb for the pack's stability. Just tell me why this is really happening, father, and perhaps we can think of an alternative. Ella, you are my daughter, and your well-being is the most important thing to me, he interjects with a growl and silences me. But you are also a member of this pack, so your life isn't completely your own. We all must play our part, and unfortunately, yours has become a chess piece to be moved. I blanch at his words, betrayal piercing my heart with each syllable. A chess piece to be moved? I gave up living a normal life when I turned 10 years old. Devoted my life to training and understanding pack politics and strategy. Now he's telling me something different? My life should be my own enough to decide who I marry, who I spend the rest of my life with. I say sadly, biting back my anger. You taught me to fight, to lead. Was that all just grooming for me to be some sort of bargaining chip? Father leans back in his chair, his face a puzzle of conflicting emotions. You misunderstand me, and perhaps that's my fault. You were taught to be strong so you could handle whatever life threw at you. Including this. My chest tightens and my heart pounds against it as if demanding to be let out. I don't know whether I am angry or hurt. I can handle challenges, Father. What I can't handle is being traded off like livestock. He leans forward, his gaze pinning me to my seat. You will do this, Ella. You will marry Alpha Roman, he says, eyes blazing red. You will be his Luna, bear his children, and you will do it knowing it's the best thing for our pack to be aligned with them. A silence falls over the room, dense and heavy like a storm cloud. Father's eyes have hardened, set in a conviction that I know won't break. The regret from earlier has all but drifted away, so I know that anything I say won't make a difference. I have fallen from future Alpha to reluctant Luna. I've always trusted you. I whisper, almost to myself. I thought you would always have my best interests at heart. I guess I was wrong. His eyes narrow, and for a moment, he looks as though he might say something, apologize, maybe, or offer some sort of comfort. But the moment passes, and the patriarchal, stubborn Alpha returns. Your best interest, Ella, is to do as you're told for the sake of your pack and family, he says, rising to his feet and leaning his palms on the desk in front of him. Have I made myself clear? It's my turn to hold his gaze, to let him see the turmoil swirling in the depths of my eyes. My voice is a hushed tremble when I speak. I can't believe you're willing to trade your only daughter's happiness for land and soldiers. I do what I must for this pack, as will you, he says, his voice a low growl, screaming with finality. And I know, with chilling clarity, that this is a battle I cannot win. Not here, not now. My heart pounds with a ferocious blend of dread and defiance as I push back the chair and rise to my feet. Very well, Father. I say, each word laced with a resentment I can no longer hide. If that is your command. It is, he replies, but his voice is softer now, attempting to hide an emotion he won't let himself show. I turn away, hand on the doorknob, pausing for just a moment as if expecting him to say something more, to undo this nightmare with a wave of his hand. But the room remains steeped in a heavy, wordless tension. Fine. I say, my voice laden with a bitterness I've never felt before. I exit the study, leaving the door slightly ajar, as if in quiet protest. But the click of the door behind me feels final, locking in a destiny I never chose. As I walk down the hall, my heels tap against the wooden floor, each step echoing my mounting defiance. My heart still races, but now it's fueled by a different kind of energy, a wild, untamed fury that claws at the walls of my soul, begging to be let out. For the first time in my life, I thought the unthinkable. I consider running away, leaving behind everything I've ever known. My thoughts, as forbidden as they are, rush through my mind like a torrential river breaking through a dam. And I can't help but think, maybe it's time to follow the current.
Ella.
I shut my bedroom door behind me, leaning against it as if it could barricade me from the life my father has just dictated for me. The room, once my sanctuary, now feels like a cage, luxurious but suffocating. My eyes scan the plush carpet, the ornate dresser filled with knickknacks and makeup, and the lavish canopy bed. All these luxuries, yet I feel like a bird in a gilded cage. With shaking hands, I grab my phone from the nightstand and dial my best friend, Lily's, number on a secured line reserved for our pack. She's the youngest daughter of my father's beta and the only one I trust. She picks up after the second ring. Ella, hey! What's up? Her voice, always full of optimism, has never sounded so different to me. Lily, I can't. I don't even know how to say this. He's making choices for me and setting me. He's setting me. My voice wobbles, and I'm disgusted with myself for it. I'm a future alpha, for heaven's sake, I should be stronger than this. Whoa, slow down. What happened? You're freaking me out, she says, her voice soft but clear, and I take a deep breath. My father, he's marrying me off to Alpha Roman of the Black Veil Pack. The words spill out of my mouth, each syllable like a drop of bitter poison. She sucks in a breath and remains quiet for a few seconds. Oh my God, Roman? But isn't he ruthless, domineering, cruel? Yeah, he's the poster boy for alphas you don't want to be tied to for eternity, I say mirthlessly and feeling the dread set in. This is really happening. My father is really doing this to me. Fucking hell, Ella! She breathes out. This alpha, no one even knows what he looks like. It said the only ones who have seen his face are his two brothers, and the ones who never lived to tell the tale. Thanks, this is helping me so much. I say with sarcasm, knowing the lore and rumors all too well. She tuts. Sorry. It's just. With all the rumors, surely your dad wouldn't. He did, Lil. He decided my fate like I'm some sort of prized pony. I say, and my eyes drift to my reflection in the mirror. The girl staring back at me looks lost, her eyes laced with a sadness that mirrors my inner turmoil. Lily's silent for a beat, and I can almost hear her gathering her thoughts. Okay, listen, rumors are rumors, right? Maybe he's not as bad as people make him out to be. I mean, how many people actually know him personally if no one but his brothers have seen him? Rumors stem from some truths too. I say with a heavy sigh and get up from the bed. I pace across my room, my eyes passing over pictures of me and Lily from better days, my trophies from various pack competitions, and my study books, all tokens of a life I thought I was building for myself, but now feel like impositions from a script someone else wrote for me. You don't get it. This isn't just about Roman. It's about my choice, my life. I'm not just some pawn to be moved across a chessboard for the sake of pack alliances. I thought my father, of all people, would understand that since he was training me. I get that this is what's best for the pack, that an alpha always puts their pack first, but I breathe out a sigh when my thoughts crash into each other. An alpha puts their pack first. I'll need to do what's right even if I hate it. Ella, you're not a pawn. You are going to be alpha one day, and making alliances is part of that life. Your father is only doing what he thinks is best for the pack. Lily says, echoing my thoughts. I am being selfish, aren't I? But what about what's best for me? I ask, my voice barely above a whisper, drowned out by the sudden lump in my throat. I am aware of how selfish I sound right now, darn it. Another pause on the line, longer this time. I wish I had an answer for you, Ella, I really do. She says. The conversation comes to an awkward close. The words I love you, and we'll figure this out hang in the air unsaid, but I know she's thinking them, just as I am. I end the call, tossing my phone on the bed. Alone, I'm left to confront my reflection again. My eyes meet those of the girl in the mirror, one green and one blue, but it's like looking at a stranger, one who has everything but the freedom to choose her destiny. With a sigh, I crawl into bed, pulling the blanket around me like a cocoon. As I close my eyes, my mind drifts away from the luxurious room and the life I know. It wanders into the shadows of dark forests and open skies, a world untamed and unshackled. My dreams become a realm of impossible freedoms, a contrast so stark against my reality that my heart aches. Yet even within those dreams, I'm running towards something elusive and undefined, something terrifying and beautiful. Freedom, maybe, or maybe just the illusion of it. But as my dream self breaks through the final line of trees and stares at the open sky, I know one thing for sure, I can't stay caged any longer. and with that sobering thought, I drift into a restless sleep, caught between the world I know and the world I yearn for.
Ella.
My father's limousine pulls up, sleek and black, designed to impress. He glances at me, an unspoken order in his eyes, smile. I don't need to be told, I've played this game many times before. There's a time to charm, a time to foster good relations, and a time to throw it all to the wayside. Alphas don't show their weakness, they can't. So, putting on a smile for show, I get out with my father at my side and walk inside to meet the vultures. Marcus, Lily's eldest brother and my guard, walks next to me as a silent watchman. This is supposed to be one of the most important moments of my life. The grand hall of our pack mansion is so elaborately decorated, it could rival a royal wedding. Crystal chandeliers glisten above, casting warm light on fresh flowers and flowing drapes. I should be lost in the splendor of it all, but instead, my senses are dulled. My heart feels heavy in my chest. I'm not here because I want to be, but because I have to be. The man I am to marry will not be out of love, not even because of the mate bond, but because of necessity. I am not sure why I didn't think about this before, because not only are we a pack, but my father operates the Italian mafia as well. What's that they say about mafia princesses and gold cages? After a few minutes of socializing, my father walks up to me with wide eyes and gently places his hand on my upper arm. I'm about to ask him what's wrong, when a commotion at the front of the hall gets my attention. Then my heart drops. A man walks towards us with an entourage of 10 warriors, and the crowd immediately parts for them. The person at the head leading them in has long black hair, cascading in curls over his shoulders. He exudes authority, and I immediately would have thought this was Alpha Roman. If it weren't for his eyes, golden, signifying a beta. He looks around the room, making eye contact with me. His eyes may not be alpha red, but they are different, sympathetic, almost sad. That's not what I was expecting. With a smile, he walks up to me, taking in my attire before finally meeting my eyes. "You must be the beautiful Ayala," he says softly, extending his hand. Striking eyes, I must say. "My name is Caden." "I don't believe I know who you are, Caden," I reply, shaking his hand. His grip is firm but not dominating, entirely different from what I expected from anyone mixed up with Alpha Roman. He chuckles at this, then he nods to my father. "Of course not, my apologies. I'm Roman's brother and beta. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it this evening." I raise an eyebrow. "Forgive my forward words, beta Caden, but your brother couldn't make it to his own engagement announcement? That doesn't make me feel optimistic about this union at all." "Ella, what are you doing?" My father calls over the mind link, but I ignore him as he extends his hand to Beta Caden. "Thank you for coming in your brother's stead, Beta Caden," he says warmly, practically oozing camaraderie as he shakes hands with the man. "We're delighted you could make it." The room erupts in a polite applause, as though my future has just been sealed and delivered with that handshake. My father turns to me, the look in his eyes commanding yet filled with an emotion I can't quite identify. I don't want to say regret, given the circumstances. "I am sure this union will do both of our packs well in the end," he booms, his voice designed to carry across the hall, and I nearly roll my eyes. "I have no doubt about that," Caden replies with a tight smile, then he turns to me again. "Shall we take a walk around the hall, Ella? I would love to get more acquainted with you." My heart drops at the thought of being alone with this man, but I still offer him a smile and nod my head. He crooks his arm for me and leads me to the opposite end of the hall. I know Roman's reputation precedes him. He starts, looking directly at me, but I assure you, he has the pack's best interests at heart. I don't doubt that at all. But the fact that he couldn't even show his face for this. What am I supposed to make of it? I say questioningly, and he hands me a flute of champagne from the table in front of us. Caden sighs, and he seems to contemplate his words. "I had a feeling you would take offense, but please rest assured it was not to spit in the face of this union," he says, drawing the champagne flute to his lips. He had some problems to sort out and couldn't get out of it. A shiver runs up my spine at his words, and from a corner of my eye catch Marcus, with his jaw set and scowling. His eyes are lingering on me, and for a moment, I feel a strange kinship. Does he sense my turmoil? Does everybody else? The flash of cameras pulls me out of my reverie. The photographers, the spectators, they all want a part of this spectacle. But as they click away, capturing smiles and handshakes, I realize they failed to capture the real me. My clenched fists remain hidden behind my back, and my eyes, however much they sparkle under the flash, conceal a growing storm. I know Roman is a man of mystery, Caden murmurs, leaning in so only I can hear. But it's because he's had to be. You'll understand him better with time, I hope. I hope so too. I whisper back. For both our sakes. He gives me one last sympathetic glance before stepping away, joining the crowd of well-wishers and curious onlookers. And I stand there, in the center of the grand hall, feeling more isolated than ever. So disrespectful. I mutter under my breath, echoing the sentiment that has been spiraling in my mind. My future husband couldn't even show up to our own engagement party. As I survey the room, my eyes once again meet Marcus, and a chill runs down my spine. I may have just met Roman's brother, but the realization sets in, I am completely alone and out of my depth. The grand hall feels like it's closing in on me, its extravagant drapery and gleaming chandeliers suddenly transformed into trappings of a lavish cage. Slipping away from the crowd and the cameras, I make my way to the garden. The back door creaks softly as I push it open, and I step into a space where the moonlight kisses the petals of the nocturnal flowers, casting ethereal shadows on the ground. Here, the air is different, cooler, freer, more forgiving. As I walk, the earth beneath me is soft and inviting, a stark contrast to the hardness I've been experiencing lately. My heels sink slightly into the soil as I move. A fresh wind rustles the leaves, whispering secrets only the night can keep. It's almost liberating, this brief moment of solitude, a tiny fragment of a life I once knew. And then I bump into him. Marcus. I whisper, surprised, and my hand goes to my heart. You startled me. As the son of my father's beta and my designated guard, he usually keeps a respectful distance, blending into the background like a shadow you forget is there. But tonight, he's different. Up close, the years of tracking and guarding show in his eyes. Those eyes hold a strange emotion, a glint of something deeper than his duty. Shouldn't you be in there, the belle of the ball? His voice is a quiet rumble, tinged with a note of sadness that I've never noticed before. Couldn't bear it anymore, I say, scoffing. I needed air, space to think. Marcus shoots me an apologetic look and an odd look flits into his eyes. Unfortunately, we don't always get what we need. He replies cryptically. What's that supposed to mean? I ask with a frown on my face, confused at his words. Marcus hardly speaks to me, and yet now he won't keep quiet. In life, especially the one chosen for us, expectations outweigh needs. You're expected to follow the path laid out for you, without question, without fail. He says. You're an alpha heir, Ella, you should know this better than anyone. I look at him, my heart pounding as his words sink in. Are you saying that defiance is futile? I'm saying that stories of defiance don't always have fairy tale endings. He murmurs, his gaze intense as he crosses his arms. And if they do, they're not without their sacrifices. The weight of his words wash over me like a tide pulling back to reveal an unsettling truth. I think about Marcus, bound by duty yet carrying an inexplicable sadness in his gray eyes. I think about myself, bound to a man I've never met, trapped in a life I didn't choose. In that moment, something shifts inside me, like the final piece of a complex puzzle snapping into place. The realization is as clear as the moonlight above, this life of predetermined servitude, of sacrificial obedience, is unbearable. I won't, live a life that isn't mine. Thank you, Marcus, I finally say, my voice finally level and carrying zero of the emotion raging inside of me. You've given me a lot to think about. He merely nods, stepping back to allow me to pass, and I wonder what thoughts churn behind those stormy eyes. Do they hold hopes and regrets of their own? I don't have the time to think about that now. As I return to my room later that evening, my steps are different. They carry the weight of a heavy decision, but also the lightness of clarity. I bypass my lavish bed, the ornate vanity, and the wardrobe full of clothes that suddenly feel like costumes in a play I never auditioned for. Reaching into the back of my closet, I pull out a duffel bag. I have to take my life into my own hands, starting tonight.